Welcome back to another questions and answers videos where you guys ask me questions and I do my best to answer them in a way that seems interesting of any kind. All right, anyway, the first question we have today comes from Lair over on my Discord server, and Lair wanted to know what was my first capture card. So, cool question. Very interesting question because my very first capture card was actually just pretty generic like PC card add-on for a laptop. Like I don't even know what brand like this is. Like I see some research here that was saying it was like Sabrent or something, but honestly it was probably just some clone of a clone of a clone of something else. But I really loved that capture card. It plugged right into my laptop. I used to record a ton of Halo 2 clips with it. I would use it on car trips all the time. So we'd have our power inverter, I'd plug the laptop into power inverter, I'd plug a console into it, and then have the console hooked up to the laptop and using the laptop as a TV, because back then there really weren't easy travel monitors to use. So it worked out really well, and it was, from my memory, I remember being able to play games like Twilight Princess on it without having any issues whatsoever. So I mean, I loved it. It was a great travel device, so I really did enjoy it. But that card eventually lived out its life because once I upgraded to Windows Vista, it no longer was able to capture audio for whatever reason, and I needed Vista for something at the time, and I know I never really hated Vista. It was just the one thing that didn't work, so ended up getting rid of that capture card, and I never did anything capture related again until 2016 when I decided to pursue YouTube, Twitch, streaming, that whole thing. And that's when I picked up the AverMedia Extreme Cap U3, and I held on to that until just this past year in 2018 when I finally upgraded to the Elgato HD60, which is still currently in use in my setup. And then I have also added on an additional Elgato Cam Link for dedicated retro game capture because it works well with the OSSC. And that is it as far as dedicated capture hardware goes that I've ever used in my entire career of capturing video. It's just been the 4 cards over the course of the last 13 years. Our final question for the day comes from Pikmon, also over on my Discord, who wants to know how I came up with my username of iStrike256 and the channel name over on YouTube here, Archades Games. It's a very interesting question here because there's really very little specifics about why the name was chosen. I had numerous gamer tags ever since Xbox Live started up. So, I mean, I went from Vash255 to Vash256 over to Silent Edge. And then finally, when the 360 came out and I finally had my own credit card to make my own username, I couldn't recover any of those older ones from the original Xbox for whatever reason. So, decided to make a new one because it didn't really matter. I didn't have anything purchased. It was just free trial after free trial that I used up, and I had to make new accounts for each one at the time. So, finally had my own card. I can make my own username, and I don't know. Maybe it was Final Fantasy X inspired, the Ice Strike edition that you could add to weapons. I really don't know. For whatever reason, I just really liked it, and then I decided to keep the 256 as the whole reason behind the 255, 256 was actually computer related. You take the base 8 system, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. That was actually kind of an obscene amount of RAM at the time, back when I made the name. And we had just upgraded our computer to have that much RAM, and so I was feeling pretty proud about it. So I did 255 at first because in electronics you start at number 0 and go up, but not many people seem to really get that reference, so I changed it to 256 when I had to make another username. So basically the name comes down to I liked Final Fantasy X and I like computers, I guess. I don't really know. I really don't. It was just something I did at the time. I don't know why, but I've never felt like changing it. I still enjoy the name. I think it suits me well. And I don't know, it'll be a good 14 years this November since I created the name, so I really see no reason to ever change it. I'm not anti the name at all, and yeah, I like it. Now, as far as Archades games goes, that one does have roots in the Mega Man Zero franchise. So if you played Mega Man Zero, the very first game has you going up against the forces of Neo Arcadia. And I've just always loved the freaking name ever since I played that game. So when I was trying to decide to do the rebrand of the channel away from iStrike256 for the YouTube part, because I wanted to bring in more things than just me, I decided to rebrand it. And I thought back to the whole Neo Arcadia. I wanted to incorporate Arcades. There we go. That's what we'll do. We'll call it Arcades, and I do games. So that's where the root of that came in. And then after I changed the name to that, I realized that there's this whole Arcades subplot in Final Fantasy 12 or something, and I've never beaten that game. I never got very far. I didn't enjoy it that much, so I didn't even know. So no, this one is not also Final Fantasy inspired, sadly. That'd be kind of cool to have two unintentional. Well, I mean, it's kind of cool to have two unintentional Final Fantasy references, even though I think only one of them actually came from that. But it's been a blast getting my channel to show up in searches over anything Final Fantasy 12 related, let me tell you. And those are our two questions for this edition of Q&A with Ice. So if you have any questions you'd like to see answered in a video like this, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button, notification bell, like, dislike button, just depending how much you like this video. And if you'd like to support the channel further, we do have that new join button now, so you can click on that. $4.99 a month, you get access to bonus emotes and everything like that, and my undying appreciation. But anyways, thank you all so much again for watching this video. It means the world to me. Thank you for making this place big enough that we can actually do Q&A type videos that people will actually care about. And yeah, thank you all so much again. We'll see you all back next video.